Hi everyone, welcome back. If you've been following along with this new challenge, the hashtag $50 February 2023. Actually, I guess not new because we are almost to the end of the month. We are in the home stretch, I feel like. So today I'm going to share with you, kind of what we planned to eat this last week, and I'm going to share with you what we actually did because we know sometimes those plans they don't go exactly as planned. And then I'm going to tell you our plans for this upcoming week to start the week off fresh. So last week we had planned Monday for leftover night. Not my ideal Monday night, but we just had so much food left over in the fridge that we needed to eat up. So what we did is we took some baked potatoes and some chicken and some green beans that were left over, chopped up the potatoes, put everything in a skillet, kind of fried it all up, and then had it with some leftover broccoli and dip from that birthday party, leftover cupcakes, and we even had a leftover pitcher of lemonade. So we had all that for supper on Monday night. On Tuesday, we made cucumber soup with grilled cheese, which is something new we had never made before, and that was kind of fun. An easy way to use up those cucumbers. I had some whipping cream, and I had made some pork broth out of some pork chop bones. So it was a great way that I could use up some of those things for the soup. And my thoughts on it, I know a couple people asked what I actually thought of it, and I would say it was maybe not my favorite soup, but it was refreshing and made me think of the garden and things, being it was cucumbers. I'd rather eat a fresh cucumber though, but it was a great way to use up the different things, and overall my kids liked it. They all ate it, and I had one kiddo who loved it, so I'm counting it as a win. Wednesday, we had planned to have pork chops with some baked potatoes and just a veggie, and then we were gonna do kind of a fancy dip, make the pork chops different, and the day completely got away from me. We were just swamped. So Matt made supper and just did our simple regular pork chops, and so was still able to kind of utilize the things we had planned a little bit. So pork chops, and still had baked potatoes, and then we still had some leftover veggies from that party and dip for supper. Thursday, we had planned on leftovers for supper, but we really did a good job eating up all our food, and I don't think we planned much for lunches this week. We did a lot of leftovers, and I don't even know if I took a lot of pictures. We did some simple breakfast too, like eggs and meat and veggies and things thrown in. And then, so Thursday, we ended up pulling together a real quick chili. I prefer to cook chili either in the crock pot like all day, or at least on the stove for a few hours, and this was more like an hour or two chili from start to finish. So I knew we were going to be running out of food, before that point, our leftovers. So I had pulled out some ground hamburger, so I had that thawed, and I just hadn't planned on what I was doing with it yet. We cooked up the ground hamburger in a little bit of lard because it isn't very fatty, so we made sure to do that, and then added some of our green peppers straight from the freezer. These are ones from our garden last year, and some onions also from the freezer, and those are ones we had gotten from friends. A bag of cabbage straight from the freezer. I just chopped it up frozen and threw it in, and I've been doing that in chili in place of celery since my celery didn't make it to the freezer this year. And then we had some fresh garlic. Went down to the root cellar and pulled out some garlic, and now I finally have garlic hanging up in my kitchen. So we put some garlic in the chili, and a bag of spinach from the freezer. I didn't want to use up my good fresh stuff in the greenhouse, so I pulled out some of the frozen stuff for this, and same thing, chopped it up frozen and threw it in. And then some dried cayenne, which is actually hot peppers from our garden, like 2019, 2020, like they've been around a while. And let's see, leftover pizza sauce that I found in the fridge. That was about my only leftover thing, and it needed to get used up, so it was less than half a jar, and I dumped that in. And that pork broth that we had made the soup with, there was still some left over, so I put that in the chili for liquid, and then we grabbed our last 3 quarts of whole tomatoes from the root cellar and use those in chili. And I only did 4 quarts this year, so we really did not have many. I still think I might have a bag or 2 in the freezer, so we can still do chili once or twice while it's still cold. But I do want to get to the point where I'm canning more whole tomatoes. I just find that after I'm done with everything else, I never really get to it. Oh, then with the chili, we had some biscuits in the freezer that we had made a while back, and we pulled those out and we had those with some honey from Matt's Beet. And of course, we topped it with cheese and sour cream. The sour cream I bought last week and the cheese from the freezer. Then on Friday night, we had a pizza night. We actually had a really busy weekend. Well, we had a really busy Friday, I should say. We had a really busy Friday, so we pulled some pizzas out of the freezer that we had already prepared another time, and we had those wrapped up, and one of the kiddos unwrapped all the pizzas for me and got them ready to cook, which was really fun. And then on Saturday, we had a snacky meal, so we had just kind of odds and ends. I'm not even sure what we all had. I didn't write it down. I know we had the end of some popcorn from a snack that was in the popcorn machine, and we had the end of some blueberries from the freezer. I found some chocolate covered pretzels in the bottom of the freezer from Christmas that I don't know how on earth those got missed. But we had those. We also had some frozen strawberries. We let those thaw a little bit. Some poppers, which are in our freezer. Those were homemade ones we made with our peppers from the garden and our bacon. And Matt ended up making up another pizza for that night too, because we were worried we weren't going to have enough, which kind of took us through the day. We had that for lunch, and then we were able to continue on with some of the leftovers for supper. And then on Sunday, we were able to spend time with family, so they fed us some homemade hot dogs, which was delicious, but we had nothing to do with any of that. So that's kind of how our week went. So we definitely, it feels like we made a lot more things than we planned on, but we did have some free time kind of on the weekend here and there where we could do that. So this week, I can just tell that, like, it's been a busy couple weeks, and this week is going to be no different. So my plans for Monday's food are meatloaf. One of my kids asked when we were having meatloaf again, and I was like, this week, because it's just something I hadn't thought of in a while. And back before we had kids, Matt and I ate meatloaf at least once a week. I don't know. It was just easy. And I did buy a bunch of oatmeal. I usually put the old-fashioned oats in my meatloaf, but we found a bunch of quick oats in the cupboard, and I'm not even sure, like, going through this challenge, I want to use up kind of some of those things I wouldn't otherwise use. And some of those quick oats, I mean, the only reason I can think that I possibly bought them for was maybe for cookies, but I'm thinking it was back when we had a microwave to make like a quick oatmeal in the microwave. I used to do that back when I was teaching, and I sometimes make like a quick apple crisp in the microwave with the quick oats, but I don't remember otherwise using them. So they might have been there for a while. So I want to use up some of those rather than breaking into that new oatmeal we just bought. And then we'll probably have a spinach salad with that, probably just some onions, garlic type thing, spinach salad, and baked potatoes. That's the plan for Monday. Since my oven will already be on for a meatloaf, I figured I might as well throw some baked potatoes in. Tuesday, my plan is a whole chicken, some fried potatoes, some green beans, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to make it yet. Since I'm making fried potatoes, I might just throw the whole chicken in the crock pot for the day, or the Instapot or something, and green beans are really fast too. So we'll kind of see how that day goes. And then since everything on Tuesday is going to be easy, the chicken, the potatoes, and the green beans, I'm thinking that I will have time to make some buns, not necessarily to eat that night, maybe. But on Wednesday, Matt wants to smoke a pork butt, the first one from our pork. And I think that would be really good to have some homemade buns to eat that with on Wednesday. And it'll just kind of alleviate me having to do that on Wednesday, because it'll be prepared the day before. That's my thought. And then I can make like a salad or something, probably spinach, or maybe even a quick fried cabbage type salad. something to go with it. And then Thursday we'll plan on leftovers again. If I'm looking low before that, I'll just pull something out. We'll kind of see. The kids have been doing a ton of leftovers for lunches, so if we continue on that route, then I probably will have to pull out something for Thursday. But if I get around to making a loaf of bread, which I didn't make one, I made one I think last Monday, so it's been a whole week since I made bread. So if I'm back on top of that, then we'll do more sandwiches and things for lunch. And then Friday, the plan will be back to pizza again, and probably homemade. And then I don't really like to plan our weekends, just kind of see where they take us, unless we're super busy and we need to kind of plan around some things, and this weekend we are not. So that's it. I'd love to hear what you guys are eating if you're doing this challenge and how you are keeping it interesting. I know it can get monotonous if we're eating the same thing every day, and there's so many interesting challenges to work with. So I'd love to hear what you're doing. Thanks for watching, and glad you got to see me again. Bye.